I don't mind these thoughts, in fact I welcome them, especially when there is so few. As time passes by, even when we pose, I can't stop that. There's no winter of discontent, there's no winter of discontent. Perfect isolation, no need to bridge the gap. And I forgot yesterday, may I say no to that. I don't mind these thoughts, in fact I welcome them, especially when there is so few. As time passes by, even when we pose, I can't stop that.
And so the best place to start the story is at that point in time, that junction where the bands have only just been formed. At this point in time, they're practicing in living rooms, and I think on one occasion, Keeks's band gets to practice down in a cellar somewhere. And they're basically scrabbling around, looking for equipment, looking for different opportunities. So I have this idea anyway, the Noisy Experimentalists Festival. And what I do is I try and market it with everybody that I can think of, and I get a few interested kind of characters who say, yeah, we'll join in that. So I take this idea to the local parks department and say, can we lend the bandstand to have this festival? And of course, oh no, out of the question, because punk rock, at the time, you don't go there. So on strength of that, really, on foot of that refusal, a whole chain of events starts, which more or less kind of cements our kind of our meteoric rise, if you like. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, the Noisy Experimentalists kicked it all off, really. That festival was the starting point, the ship that launched 1,000 ships, if you like. Yeah, because what happened was the press. I went to the press and I told them the hard luck story about how the mean parks department wouldn't give us the room we needed to do our punk festival, and on strength of that, when the article came out, we were given offers by very kind offers by them wifeys, a local women's group in Newcastle, and also by the Princess Trust via their right hand man Mike Elphick, who came over and more or less joined in the whole thing basically for a couple of years and looked after us in an amazing kind of way, above and beyond the call of duty, which was fabulous. We had these new people who were all kind of were singing the way we were singing, kind of thing, and offering us help in all kinds of amazing practical ways. So we went across to see them wifeys, and they offered us the use of their downstairs basement garage, which was a huge place. And as soon as we saw great potential for not only just doing the festival, but the possibility of holding on to it and having a practice space, and then potentially even a gig space, which we then duly did. Them wifeys were approachable, and we put it to them, would like to run Sunday night gigs, and they went along with it. And then coupled with our connections with Mike Elphick and the Princess Trust, and some other very helpful youth leaders, like for example we had Nick Pierce, and we also had Esther Solomon from the library promotion team, and Paul Lawrence as well, of course, who actually shot the film that you'll be seeing shortly. And we had a whole gang of other characters who were all kind of fairly dedicated in different kind of ways, plus all the punks that came along as well. And what was very exciting is on a Sunday night you would get maybe 50 to 100 punks turning up at Bell's Court next to Spectra, coming in and watching bands. And there was one very decidedly dodgy toilet in the venue, which I don't think had been washed or used for a couple of years. There was if the punks wanted to get drink, they went over to the Bacchus, which was around the corner. I suppose they used the toilets then as well. We had very rudimentary lighting. We had no seats as such. It was a standing room only kind of venue. There was no heating, there was no flooring. In fact, you could say there wasn't much of anything really, except there was music, loud, angry rock music, and there was plenty of that. And for 25p, which was the cover charge, you got in, and you got to see those bands. It was quite amusing, actually. I remember a sort of a summit meeting with one of them wifeys a couple of weeks after it started, and they said, "So then, Andy, are we going to get a cut from this take of yours?" And so we had to give them wifeys a wee cut from our weekly stash. You know, I don't think they were after the money. I just think they wanted us to kind of, you know, there was responsibility or something like that. You know, and you know, it was what was good about it was that suddenly we were kind of not just a band or a group of bands. We were a collective of bands, and we also had a venue, so we suddenly had this collective bargaining thing, and I think that was very formative in terms of how we approached the next junction, because obviously all good things come to an end, and eventually after much kind of going on, the venue actually closed down because the building was condemned. It had always been condemned, but it was going to be knocked down for a car park. So there was an interim period where the punks knew this was coming, and they had a choice. They could lose their venue, and that was that, or they could look elsewhere. And again, our youth workers were brilliant because they kind of cropped up at the right moment, and Esther was very instrumental in this, as well as Paul Lawrence, and there was some other ones as well. Mike Elphick from the Princess Trust, all guided the group towards the new venue, which was of course the old police club in Gateshead. And when the lads went down to see that, we were pretty amazed, you know. So it got the name of the station, which is fairly apt, and that kind of chapter closes for me then, because I went off to do art at Brighton. Sort of that was my end of story kind of thing. But yeah, that's the story.
It's my winter of discontent. It's my winter of discontent. This